Cool. Cool. Yes, welcome back to the Movie Will Marathon's secret fun extra marathon thing that we're doing. We're
If you
on.
hear this, it means we failed.
Yes. That's right. That's our tagline. If you're listening to this, it means one of us is sick or dead because we didn't watch the movie we were supposed to watch this week. This is our backup video. Thank you for listening to Movie Will Marathon.
You
Yes.
can click away now. We know you're going to in about 30 seconds anyway.
Yeah, that's what the analytics say. But yes, we're on Atlantis. Shit, that's the wrong one. Oh, there we go. Atlantis, The Lost Empire, directed by Kirk Wise and Gary Truesdale. Cool. Came out in 2001. God, it's old. Yeah, we're doing our fun little weirdly animated adventure movies, and you can't not do Atlantis.
I mean, dude, obviously Treasure Planet is like the quintessential one, right?
Yes.
But Atlantis is sitting right there underneath it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let everybody know this is like one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna love this thing. I love this thing.
Yeah,
I have so much
I'm
fun.
happy to talk about it with you. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this because you have seen it more times. This was one of your movies. I did not see this until I was 18, so it's not
I
my.
watched it earlier. I probably watched it 14, 15,
Okay.
which would have been around like I don't know. It would have been much earlier than sorry, it would have been much later than when the movie was obviously put out. I was like 3 when the movie came out.
Yeah.
Um, but it's I mean, just a quick summary. If you haven't seen it, just go watch it. Pause. You don't even
Mm-hmm.
come back here. Just go watch it. If you have watched it, I will consider this successful. Um, but it's this little movie where a guy named Milo is convinced that Atlantis exists because it's something that his grandpa was looking for. Turns out Atlantis does exist. He gets to go on this whole expedition with a whole motley crew of like interesting characters. They go under the water, they encounter a robotic Leviathan thing, they travel underground for a bit, and they get to actual Atlantis where they encounter Kita and all the living Atlanteans, and there's a whole like story that happens there. But it's a really fun adventure film, and I feel like it's kind of odd because it doesn't really feel like it's designed for kids. There's
Yeah.
nothing crazy about it that puts it outside like the children's like movie genre. Like it's not necessarily inappropriate at too many times, but it starts in a made up language. Like the whole
Mm-hmm.
first scene is a made up Atlantean language that you have to read subtitles for to understand. Like there's no in order to understand the conflict and what happens in that first scene, you kind of have to read subtitles,
Mm-hmm.
which is not necessarily something you find, at least at the start of kids' movies, very often. You can pick up on what happens just from watching things, okay? They make a good point of like visually storytelling as well as using the dialogue and whatnot. But the whole movie is kind of like that, where the content and the dialogue is written at a kind of elevated level. And it's it's something that a kid would enjoy, but you don't really get it until you're older, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
I think that's fair. I appreciate the adult jokes that pop up every now and then. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't have anything really bad to say about it. I think it's a really fun adventure. It's got some good humor. It's got some good heart. There's a couple of moments where I feel like you could say it's maybe a little bit basic. Maybe a couple of things could have been further explored or whatever. But there's a certain amount of this is a kids movie, so like how much do we want to do there? Um, I really enjoy the opening. I love Milo's character. He's adorable. I think.
Darling.
Yeah.
Imagine like the reason people for all the reasons that people love Hiccup, like
Hmm.
from the How to Train Your Dragon
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
these are the reasons that you would love Milo. He just doesn't have a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, very, very much so. Um, yeah, I think Michael J. Fox as the voice is fantastic. I love the little kind of cliche but fun subversion that his presentation is being given to toys and models and mummies and
Yeah.
stuff. Um,
Practicing and like through his presentation we get all the exposition we need to sort of like
yes,
set up what's
yes.
going on. It's a
Hmm.
basic narrative tool, but it works really well. It establishes character for him really well too.
It
Like
does.
he is academic, but he's in the basement.
Yeah,
You know,
of
like
course.
he is not valued by the society that he's a part of.
Mm-mm. And then yeah, I love the Motley Crew. I feel like it could have been fun to maybe have more moments with them if I'm like, just trying
Sure.
to not criticize but critique. I think there could have been more of them explored a little bit. My favorite is
There's
definitely
so
Sweet.
many of them.
True. Yeah, you could. Well, see that was I was thinking this while watching this. My biggest and only real complaint maybe with this movie is if there was a pizza that is, I know I do weird ones, okay, but it works. If there's a pizza that is divvied up and given to the things that go into Disney animated movies, animation, story, music, characters, character moments, arcs, all that. Most movies, the pizza is like divvied up fair, but like some of the pieces are bigger than others. You know, like they slack in some areas, other things get more attention. This one though, I think there are too many pieces of pizza. I think there's so many cool things going on and so much to explore and to get into and so many characters that they each got a piece, but it's a little piece, unfortunately. I think it's like what Bilbo said. It's not enough butter spread over too much bread. I think it could benefit from maybe just a little bit longer runtime, which I know is different for animated movies.
Funny is, I think you're actually saying there's too much butter and too little bread. Like there's a lot of
Oh,
content.
yes, I did. That's
Yeah.
right. I flipped it. I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I meant.
No, it's good. I mean, I think like Bilbo's that is originally Bilbo's
Yeah,
metaphor. He's
yeah.
like, there's not enough energy to cover all the tasks that I need to do. You're saying there's so much content and there's not enough time to like process all of it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, like at the same
And
time, I don't think the movie feels bloated though. Like
okay.
movies like Batman versus Superman, that's just the first one that came to my mind. There's too much they
Ooh,
put in there. There's like they're referencing
right.
lots of comics. There's lots of different arcs going on that maybe like movies that result in loose ends. I don't really feel
Mhm.
that way with Atlantis. I just feel like again, it feels like just two small pieces of pizza. It's like every character is lovely. It's a delicious slice, but we don't really get a whole lot from them. We don't get to explore what they get to do. So it's a little slice. Like I love the king. Don't get a whole lot of him. I love
Mhm.
Atlantis. We don't really get to explore a whole lot of it. You know what I mean?
Not
Like,
much of it, yeah.
right. Love the adventure, the quest to get there. We don't really get, even though it's probably most of the movie, a great deal of the expedition. And I know you or others might argue against that, but like, we get this dope ass submarine for like a minute and a half. We get this dope ass underground expedition, which is kind of a montage. Like, there's not. I don't feel like, for some reason, and I'll stop in a second because I want more of your perspective because you have more of a connection to this movie. Even though we probably spend just as much time getting from A to B as we do in Treasure Planet, I don't really feel solidified in anything. I think maybe part of that is the ship is like more of a home in Treasure Planet, and there's a different kind of montage in Treasure Planet that makes it feel like time has passed more so than in Atlantis. I just feel like we keep hopping into different vehicles, we keep kind of moving forward. There is momentum, there is directive, and that's great. But it's like I feel hungry afterwards because the pizza is it's thin crust or something. I don't know. I'm curious to your. Am I missing something? Am I
Your
being?
metaphor's getting mixed, but
Definitely,
it's all
definitely
good.
for sure.
um, okay, so I actually agree that the structure of this film feels a little funny, and I actually think it's great that you pointed out that it's actually a very similar structure to Treasure Planet in the sense that you get the setup for the story initially, where you meet the main character and maybe a couple of people who are going to help him on his trip, right? And in Atlantis, that's meeting Milo, understanding that he is hunting Atlantis, and then he meets Preston Whitmore, and he has to like kind of prove to Preston that he is going to go ahead and find Atlantis now that he has the Shepherd's Journal. Um, The difference is, I think, well, and then after he's done that, then you have a clear section where it's them just getting to Atlantis, which has a cool submarine sequence to begin with, but very quickly just becomes, like you were saying, a montage of traveling underground to get there, which it is used to establish character for all the different characters that we have, but it feels different than the Treasure Planet one, which I'll get to in a second. And then the last bit of the movie, which is the majority of the movie, but it takes us like probably 30 to 40 minutes to get there, right? The last part of the movie all takes place in Atlantis itself. So that is sort of like the destination location. That's where you're going. Unlike Treasure Planet, which you don't actually get that much time on Treasure Planet.
Right, yeah.
The reason it feels so different is because the main character in Treasure Planet, Jim, gets his, I guess, duo in the middle part, where it's about Jim and John Silver having kind of like building a relationship, and then the side characters that exist play off of each other. The one pirate hates Arrow, and they build that relationship a little bit. The captain and the doctor are developing their relationship, and so they're using those happening in the background, and they're focusing on Jim and Silver building a relationship.
Good point.
In this one, Milo doesn't meet his like partner, his duo, until they get to Atlantis.
Yeah.
Which means it's mostly just him struggling to fit in socially until a little bit of the way through that montage of them traveling underground. He has interactions with Helga and with Preston Whitmore that establish him as an interesting character, but he doesn't really meet anybody who gives him an interesting dynamic until Kita shows up.
Yeah.
So there's this feeling of prolonged waiting of getting to the point with Atlantis that maybe we don't have in Treasure Planet, even though the structures are very similar.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Point.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
think the montage is effectively used to establish character for our crew, though, because we get to know Cookie, Mole, Audrey, Sweet, Vinny, Helga, even Packard from those scenes. They're very quick bits, but you learn a lot about them. The movie is very good about giving you as much content as possible in short little spurts.
Well, I really do love those characters too. I love the moment where they're all setting up their tents and we get many of their little backstories. Like, it's very sweet. Like, they're wonderful characters. I kind of wish there was more of that throughout the film, because I feel like
I don't know where that fits.
I don't either. Yeah,
once we get to Atlantis, it's very much about how Kita needs Milo to figure out what's going on, and how, because Milo's curious and because Kita needs the information that he can provide, how their relationship goes. And then as a result, there's this little moment where it turns out we're not here for honest reasons. You gonna, get with the crew and make money, or you gonna die with the Atlanteans? And Milo's the hero, so of course he picks the Atlanteans. But it's a very, it feels different. It's actually, goodness, there's even a surprise mutiny, kind of like Treasure Planet. I hadn't realized the amount of narrative similarities between the two.
Of course.
I noticed the animation similarities before, but not the narrative similarities.
And one, we're exploring space in ships that look like they're made for the water, and then the other, we're exploring the water with ships that look like they're made for space. It's great. I love it. It is very fun. I am totally down for that. But yeah, I definitely don't want to really take a dump on the movie, because again, I think for kids, like, it's not that big a deal, and it's fun to see the little character moments, and the twist at the end, I do take like just mild, not issues with, but like an eye roll almost, because I don't think they set up the rest of the gang being so willing to
altruistic.
Yeah, like well, it's not quite that. Like, they make it very clear. They say they're in it for the money, but then they put in the crumbs later while they're stealing the stuff from the Atlanteans. They're like, hey, we weren't anticipating there being people here. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, you're still actively hurting them right now. You know that, right? So like, it's weird. I just feel like, and again, maybe if we had more time with the characters, it'd make more sense to see why they were so willing to go along with it. up until they weren't. You know what I mean? Like, it feels more like a writing by the numbers kind of thing, which again, kids movie, that's fine. It's fine. In the end, they did the right thing. They're great characters. Love it. I like that Sweets, because he was my favorite. He was the most outspoken the whole time. Like, he immediately goes to the king when he's injured. He's not even there during, like, the big mutiny twist.
Moment because he's already made his decision.
He's not even there. Like, so he's great. Yeah. His moments are also like my favorite. Like when he comes in, it's like, oh, you settled on the dirt, didn't you? Like it's so funny. And then yeah, when he's like, I don't like fish, don't like fishing, don't like all those little bones. I need you to fill these both up with what? Like it's so so funny. And then I had forgotten because I was laughing about that, but I forgot his other little moment where Milo's like, what's Mole's story? It's like, you don't want to know. Audrey, don't tell him. You shouldn't have told me, but you did. Now I'm telling you, don't tell him. Like, it's
you just, don't want to
know. I'm telling you, you don't want to know. Like, he's great. He's fantastic. Love him. Love Audrey, honestly. She's great as well. The others I'm kind of hit or miss on.
I think Vinny's kind of funny just because, like, he's always got an explosive.
He is funny, but he would give me anxiety. I would not want to be around him.
Well, I mean, the prank is mean when they convince Milo that he's like had nitroglycerin.
Oh no, you drink nitroglycerin.
Oh, dude, that's stressful.
Yeah. I do find myself going back and forth on the general guy or whatever his name is, the leader, because it's pretty obvious right away that he's Tiberius. Like, just by his name, it's pretty obvious that he's a bit of a tool. But some of his moments are hilarious. Like when Milo's running around screaming fire, and he just wakes up and he's like, I'm gonna kill him. Like that has nothing to do with the fact that he's a bad guy or that he's in it for the money. He's just so over this little skinny pain in the ass that he's willing to kill. Like I like that a lot. I like it. He's funny. And then his ending is wild. I always forget what happens to him until the very end.
I think it's worth mentioning, and like this movie is so good. I would hate to spend all of our time on this topic.
Right. We should move on to positives.
Well, not necessarily like the topic we were just talking about, but the one I'm kind of leading into.
Oh, okay.
It's such a the decisions that are made are decisions that you can't really appreciate as a kid. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
So much of this is, he's giving an academic presentation, which like you might not even, as a kid, you might not even pick up that he's like in a museum. Mm-hmm. They don't make that super obvious. And Helga is like the second character we meet. And she is obviously got like a sex appeal thing going on.
Yep.
And what's crazy about that is Milo doesn't even really respond to that. Mm-hmm. He's baffled by the fact that there's somebody in his apartment, but he's mostly like, why are you in my apartment?
Yeah.
And, like, why are you talking to me? I don't understand. I also love the fact that they establish that he has a cat as he walks in the door. He's like,
yes.
Puppy.
So the joke makes sense in the end.
It comes into play. He was like, when he's working with Preston and he's like, somebody's got to take care of my cat. And his cat just pops over his shoulder. He's like,
I'm going to have to quit my job.
And
it's done. You resign this afternoon.
At the very end, the cat shows up again. Audrey's taking care of the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, they don't drop the ball on that
of course
at
not.
all. And it's there for maybe one joke, and they just, like, kept
but
it.
They did well with it. They really did.
Yeah. The fact that his hero is his grandpa, not like his dad directly, right, is an interesting choice. It's a little bit unusual. Not crazy unusual, but a little unusual. And the fact that his grandpa died unhappy. Like, he died a broken man, is what Preston says. Like, that's not something that you see in a Disney movie very often, where it's like, that guy had an unhappy ending to his life. That guy that you like, that guy that you idolize, he died unhappy. Like, that's a little bit like okay, hello. It's kind of all over the place with that. It took them only 7 hours, 7 in-universe hours from launch to lose the entire crew. Like,
Yeah,
they
that was
lost
a lot.
75% of their crew. There is
That's
no more
intense.
than 50 people in that crowd at the end, like,
Hmm.
no more than 50
No.
people. And they started with a crew of 200.
Yeah.
Like,
We begin the
that's
movie
insane.
with an entire continent being wiped off the face of the earth. Like lots of
Yeah.
people die. Like it's
I
intense.
will say, I feel like, strangely, mass destructive events tend to be kind of common to set the tone in kids' adventure movies. Like,
Kids
it's
adventure movies or just adventure movies in general?
in movies that people are totally fine with kids watching if they're not intentionally
Fair
designed
enough.
for kids.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Um, and I think that's just because the kind of destruction that happens with like a whole continent going under is not something you can easily comprehend.
True.
Whereas if you're like, your grandpa died a broken man, like,
Uh-huh.
that's a little bit more personal, right?
That's a little rough. Yeah.
Or when you start with a submarine full of people
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, not even 5 minutes later, it's just
God.
the main group.
Yeah.
Yeah. And taking time to round out the backstories of the characters is a cool move. They didn't really have to do that,
True. Very
right?
true.
Like, they didn't have to have that many characters. It could have just been Milo versus the mercenaries, and he inspired the Atlanteans rather than the people he had built relationships with on the way.
That could have been cool.
The Out of the fact that they have multiple sci-fi references in this movie.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they're referencing Stargate with their Atlantis symbol. I
Hmm.
am sure they're referencing, well, that's not really a reference. They cast Leonard Nimoy as the king.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
they have Spock. Tiberius is Kirk's middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the name of the general and or commander or whoever it
Whatever.
is, right?
He's the guy.
There's I mean, there aren't lightsabers or Jedi, but a lot of like major sci-fi stuff seems to have a reference here.
Yeah. I
Um,
believe it for sure.
there's just a lot going on in this film that doesn't feel designed necessarily for kids. I'm very curious as to what audience they were actually targeting in the studio when they were like, let's make this movie. Were they just making it for themselves
I don't
and
know.
like limiting
I
it?
honestly like
Like,
to think maybe they were.
yeah.
It weirdly
It
doesn't
was an
have.
attempt at like teen films. Like, I would, as like a 14 or 15-year-old, this is the perfect target audience in my opinion, because it's starting
Yeah.
to deal with more complex things without being fully adult.
Hmm.
It's
See, I can't think of a lot of reasons why it's like bad necessarily, but I want to look up some because the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 55% and the critic is 49. So I'm just wondering what is it that people don't like about this movie? Because I don't. There's nothing
yeah.
egregious about this. Like
My only thought is that it has a slow beginning, but it's
maybe,
worth it, in my opinion.
yeah. I
Like, I like the fact that it feels like a classic sci-fi novel. In a classic
yeah.
sci-fi novel, you always have to take some time before you get to your destination, and then once you've gotten to your destination, then you can have the adventure. But the
Hmm.
getting there is a part of the story.
Maybe we're just old nerds because I would rather watch this than Lion King any day. I don't. I said what I
Oh,
said. I don't
yeah.
care. I don't like Lion King all that much. I way prefer this.
Either yeah, no, I want to say I like The Lion King, but if I'm being honest, I like the music in Lion
Oh,
King,
I
and
know.
that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of
That's
it,
a
if I'm
rant
being
for
honest.
another day. I like Atlantis. I think it's fun. I do go back and forth with the artistic decisions. The animation quality in general is fantastic. The use of the 3D and the 2D, I think, melds just fine. It's usually saved for the machines and the monsters, which is all cool. It's totally fine. I don't love that every character is almost in their own art style. I can appreciate the experimentation. I think in some ways that absolutely can work. I just don't know if this was the time to do it. I feel like that would have been way better for Treasure Planet, where like every alien or every species is like a different art style, and it's because they're from different worlds. But like in this one, Milo is like a mixture of Tarzan and Hercules. He's very chiseled, but he's like a geometric shape. And then Helga is like from Pocahontas. She's very anatomically correct. I don't mean that in any weird way. She just is. Like, she looks normal. And then the commander kind of like looks about the same as like Milo, but he looks like an animated version of a character from The Incredibles, which I know hasn't come out yet, but it's like that general style. And then Mole is just a circle. He's something like right out of Hercules, just straight out of Hercules. And then Sweet, he's out of Lilo and Stitch, just regular anatomically correct characters. Like, there's nothing weird about him, really. And then Audrey, I swear to God, she was that animation style where like they film it first and then draw on top of it. The way she moves and how like normal her body looks. She looks so different from the rest of the characters. And she's got several scenes with Milo. And Milo is like all pointy and exaggerated and weird. Like, he looks like Fear from Inside Out moving around. And she looks like Snow White from Snow White, where like it's clear it was like, what's the word for that? Rotoscoped or something?
I don't know the technical term.
I don't, but like it's like they filmed someone on a set and then they animated those film cells, like, and added the costume or whatever later. Like, it's just sometimes it's a little bit weird. And then there's Kida. Kida looks like something completely different from all of them, and it's like the only one that really works, I think, in this world itself. Like, because Milo, while perfect in every way, doesn't really blend in with the rest of the world, if that makes sense. Like, Kida and the Atlanteans make sense. They look normal in the world they're in.
Designed for their environment,
yes,
very much so.
And he almost is. And again, I don't really mean this as a hate thing at all, but it's an interesting choice.
I can see how this would bother you, and I don't necessarily disagree with the idea that a more unified art style could have been a little bit more satisfying as a viewer. But narratively, I have always liked that the animations for the characters was so distinct, because this is a movie about relationship across differences in a lot of ways. And the fact that the crew look so different and act so different and yet operate as one unit was something that I really liked. And I like the fact that Milo looks a little out of place in his world and almost looks like he fits in the Atlantean world. He's not quite right. He's still an outsider, but he kind of looks like he fits because he has a role, he has a purpose there. And the Atlantean style, just, they're very much supposed to be almost that same kind of idea from like Avatar, where they are a part of their planet, right? Atlanteans are supposed to have that same vibe where like how they are as a culture is very much reflected in the design and the visuals of their environment. It's actually something that Kida talks about, how she's like, we are dying, we are fading, and you can see it in our city, you can see it in us, right? So I thought that was done well. But it does kind of look like, especially in the movement, it does kind of look like it's multiple movies put together. I think a lot of people would miss that, especially if they're not looking with an artistic eye.
For sure.
But I definitely hear that point, and as someone who likes the narrative point of it, I think it's a cool choice. But I can also see how someone would, almost like if you put a document in a bunch of different fonts, I would get upset with you. Like, it's a creative choice. No, pick like 2 or 3 at most and stick with it.
Yeah. It's a little jarring sometimes, but as a whole, I think it's fine because it adds some charm to the movie.
Yeah, and this movie is so much about those small moments and choices too. I think maybe that's why I like it, and maybe that's why people don't like it. Is it kind of feels like reading a book. Like, you have to invest yourself in the experience in order to get something out of it. You have to pay attention to the quick lines of dialogue that have complex meaning to them. You have to be paying attention for the jokes to actually make sense. It's not just slapstick. There's some of that in there, but there's more complex stuff and layers to it too. You have to be, like, if you're paying attention at all, you'll see like Milo is not paying attention when Helga sitting right next to him looks at the commander and is like, there weren't supposed to be people here. This changes
Right.
everything.
This
And he
changes
goes,
nothing.
this is nothing. And Milo's just
Brr.
babbling over there just right out of the frame.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's and that emphasizes, especially to the viewer, how naive and oblivious Milo is being too, which leads into his character arc as well, where he's like, I am the one who led these terrible people to this place so that
Mm-hmm.
they could steal and kill this whole society, right? He has this whole moment there. So I don't know, it's interesting, I think.
Excellent points. Now I want to pivot a little bit because
Mhm.
it was either you or partner that I had this debate with years ago
Hmm.
after watching this movie. I cannot recall who. Mr. Whitmore.
Yes.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
I'm gonna say good guy.
Okay. I don't think it was you then that I had this debate with. Because
Okay.
why, when the submarine is going down, why does he cross his fingers behind his back?
He's wishing for the best. That's a sign for
Okay,
wishing.
so I think it was partner that I had this debate with because when I saw that and I caught that the first time, that's what I thought he was doing. I thought he was because his hand in front is a thumbs up, and the one behind him is fingers crossed. But because he put his hand behind his back, that seems to have led some people to think he was in on this the whole time, and that it was a I'm actually a bad guy, like I'm not keeping my word thing. But then at the end of the movie clearly has him. He's on the up and up. He's fine. He's a good guy,
So
clearly.
this is an instance where I think actually, because we've interpreted or we've added new meaning to something in society, the old thing gets confusing. The crossing the fingers thing is always has originally, like the older meaning for that is hope for the best. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm hoping for the best. It's supposed to be kind of like a charm or like, a little thing to make things better,
Yeah.
superstition. Um, More recently in common elementary schools and just general childhood, crossing your fingers and holding it behind your back is indicating that you are lying. For
Mm-hmm.
some reason, someone came up with the idea that that meant it was okay to lie because you have got some weird loophole where so long as your fingers are crossed and they're behind your back, it doesn't count. Um, it's the same thing as like jinx. It's like this
Mm-hmm.
weird rule created on the playground that just kind of perpetuates and spreads. So what he's doing at the time that they made this, I'm pretty sure almost exclusively means I hope for the best, but I don't want you to see that I'm nervous about it, so I'm going to hide the fact
That's
that
what
I'm
I
nervous
always
about it.
thought too.
But unfortunately, it completely overlaps with the now existing understanding of that gesture, which is I'm lying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a cultural shift that's happened with that.
Yeah, because I either made up in my head or I saw another argument that was pointing out that his like the first interaction between him and Milo and his essentially his own museum. My gut reaction, first interpretation is yeah, avid explorer, worldly, collects all these interesting things, maybe even preserving them, who's to say? But the other half of that is greedy, arrogant,
Mhm.
possessive, a little bit of that what's his name? Shit. Ian Malcolm Jurassic Park, the
Mhm.
what you call discovery, I call the rape of the natural world kind of like this is not actually a good guy. It's a guy just going to find and collect and grab everything. He was like he's got extinct fish in his
Mhm.
base study. So
Has he told the scientists about that, you know?
yeah, exactly. So I could see where like if he were a lying piece of shit that just wants things collected, the pieces maybe were put there, but I still
Mhm.
don't I think you have to look for that. My initial gut reaction is that he's just a cool guy that has like, and the aesthetic of a worldly dude, especially in this time, is that he's got shit from all over the world. Like he's private because he doesn't want to share it with people. He doesn't want people to soil it or mess it up, and he thinks he can preserve it and all that. And I like that, and that's what I took from it the first time around.
I suspect the intention was that he has a lot of money and he likes to spend it on people who adventure, or
Mm-hmm.
he used to go on adventures a lot and now he like spends money on helping people go on adventures, right? And that was like that was a real thing. Like that was kind of like the beginning of academia in a lot of ways. It wasn't always great because you got a lot of people stealing stuff, but
Yeah.
like from native cultures. But the idea in this film, I think, was to indicate just that he is someone who could successfully finance an adventure. And I don't want to write out the idea that maybe there is some gray in the character because I don't know that he's perfectly morally upstanding.
Yeah, because he definitely knew they were mercenaries, right? He just
Yeah,
like he had to have known that.
and it sounds like he might have financed their previous adventures
Uh-huh.
where they went and maybe did take a thing or two, but maybe not from like a living culture, right?
Yeah.
So I think there is room, like kind of like we've been saying, this is a film that seems to thrive in more complex spaces. I don't know that Preston Whitmore is supposed to be 100% a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not intentionally sabotaging Milo either. Like
Right.
he's not an antagonist
Mm-hmm.
by any means.
Because I
That's
think,
my take on
yeah, it's interesting because he gives Milo the book. Now,
it.
did he remove that extra page, or did the commander remove that page? Like he got his little mitts on the book.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, or was he just that kind of guy who's like, yes, bring me this power source so I may be rich and famous? He's like, hey, boss, there's people using it. Oh, well, in that case, leave it alone. Like, is he that cool of a
Mhm.
guy? Like, I don't know. I think,
Mhm.
like you said, there's some nuance, some gray area. I would not
Mhm.
be upset if there was a little more clarification. But like, I'm
Mhm.
okay with what we have.
Well, it kind of seems like they might have set it up for him to be like a little bit of a villain. But I don't know, it's not executed anywhere in the film, right? They never show Preston Whitmore intentionally making a choice that makes it harder for Milo. He
Yeah.
only ever serves to provide better things for the heroes in the story. Once they come back and they're like, well, it turns out we couldn't get the thing because there was a whole bunch of people living down there, and the commander and Helga went crazy trying to get the thing, and we killed him. He's like, oh, well, here's your cover story. Here's
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of money. Go have fun. Like
Yep.
there's not a lot of morally uprightness in the idea, maybe, but there's definitely plenty of like, okay, that's relatively fine, right? So it's interesting in terms of a movie. It doesn't have those super clear cut lines all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I There's so much I want to talk about. I'm like trying to figure out where to move to next.
Pick whatever, because I
Um,
have like nothing left. I
okay.
love the giant
Um,
robots at the end. They are amazing, and the
yeah.
spectacle is absolutely incredible. The big force dome is amazing. I would love to see that live actionified, but they never will. So love it.
The fact that Disney is
Cowards.
so trying to kill. I mean, they're holding to the idea that they should kill Treasure Planet and Atlantis. And it's ridiculous because you could make so many toys
Oh
from
yeah.
Atlantis.
Oh
You can
yeah.
make the submarines and all the various accessories that go with the submarine. You can make the Atlantean guardians, the
Mac.
statues that stand up.
Mac.
You can make like
Mac.
you can make the book. Like it's
Your age is showing. The whole new Toy Story movie is about how kids don't play with toys anymore. Remember?
then make a video game. It's not hard. Like
Digitize, damn it!
it's to me, there are a lot of ways to finance this movie. There are a
Oh,
lot of ways to
easily.
this movie. I'm thinking toys because I'm familiar with the cartoon example, like serialized cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
The companies tend not to like those. They don't feel like they can sell as many toys with serialized cartoons. Whenever girls start to like a guy's show, they tend to start canceling that show because they
Yep.
can no longer fight the market. It's a whole thing. But there's so many ways that you could turn this already made movie into continuing profits for you as a
Mm-hmm.
company, and they are trying so hard to kill it still. They're
Yeah.
just letting it wither off in the
I.
corner. And like, this is one of the most unique stories,
Mm-hmm.
one of the most interesting worlds, some of the most interesting characters you've ever created.
Mm-hmm.
You have this, you have a bilingual, crazy haired princess queen now who becomes a living crystal
Mm-hmm.
in spirit of her forefathers,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes and saves everybody, but only after she's been dragged out of an exploding volcano.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
dude,
Yep.
market that.
Fantastic. I actually think this would be easier to do a live action adaptation of than Treasure Planet,
Yeah.
because I don't think, and this could be because I'm not as attached to it. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm off base here. I don't think there's anything in this movie, visually or necessarily narratively, not a single thing that couldn't be changed a little bit to maybe improve upon it or to explore more of it. Whereas there's some shit in Treasure Planet where, like, visually crushed it, little narrative moment crushed it, and you either have to find out how to do this shot for shot without making it feel derivative or improve upon it without taking something away. Whereas with this one, I honestly feel like it would be harder, but not impossible because it is Disney, to make it worse, like, because as we already discussed, there are a little bit of pacing issues. There's a couple of things here where maybe there could be more. Like, it's already stretched a little thin. Whereas you get movies like Lion King, which adds nothing new and somehow an hour longer. We could get more exploration. We could get more time at Atlantis. We could, like, have more moments with the characters. Like, we could see more of the opening, spend a little more time with baby Kita instead of like 30 seconds. Give us 2.5 minutes kind of thing. Like, like, there's more to do, more to see, and I mean the visuals are already there. Don't fuck necessarily with the design of Atlantis, but, like, add more cool tattoos to Kita. Add a weird visual thing to all the other little characters. Like, there's more shit to do with this one.
I think you're right. I think Treasure Planet's aesthetic is so established. It's so tightly woven and created that it's hard to replicate that on screen, and it's hard to improve it because it looks so good already. I think Atlantis is very similar in the sense that, especially once you actually get to Atlantis, the design is really well done. However, because of the animation differences between different parts of things,
Mm-hmm.
you can make it feel more cohesive if you're paying attention to what you're doing in a live action film. That would be an improvement. The main things I would be worried about is I feel like in order to communicate the art of Atlantis, you have to maintain the weird balance they have between angles and curves.
Mm-hmm.
You have to maintain the fact that everything is natural and kind of blue gray.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to maintain the lighting. The
Mm-hmm.
lighting is so important in the film, especially because the once you get to Atlantis, that blue
Yes, with the
crystal thing,
crystals and all. Yes,
it's
absolutely.
like it has to feel like a constant presence. And I think you could do a lot with what's left too, because there's this idea that Atlantis is sort of like collapsing and dying, and I don't know that they really drive that point home in the film itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you as an observant watcher look around, you're like, okay, this place is in ruins. Like, there are columns on the ground, there are vines climbing over the statues, there's, people that have homes that are sort of like held up by stilts or whatever, but it's not distinctly different from the rest of the aesthetic around it. So I think that's something that you could focus a little bit more on too in a live action where you'd be more intentional about showing things are breaking. Maybe like they walk past something and it collapses, right? Like there's a little bit more that you could do to indicate that bit of the story
Hmm.
in the setting.
I think we could also get a little bit more of why they decided to stay hidden and
Hmm.
why Milo is going to help. Like, I don't. It's really like, yeah, okay. Milo's gonna help because he can read the language that they have forgotten how to read. Fine. That's kind of dumb, but sure. We'll give you that. That's fine. 1,000 years, you've moved on. You don't remember how to do it. Cool. That's great. What is that gonna do? We don't
Hmm.
really, and I don't know if the sequel explores that. I've heard people don't like the sequel. Milo being able to read doesn't really explain how that's going to help. Are you gonna supercharge the crystal? Are you gonna like add some fertilizer to it? Like, what is it you're supposed to do? Like, I know it ends up working in the whatever it is they do helps it, but what is it he does?
That's actually something that I think the film does really well
Do they?
because Milo wants to learn whatever he can learn.
Yeah.
Like Atlantis is the boy's special interest. He
Yes.
is down for any access that he can get to anything about Atlantis.
Right.
And Kita wants him to read things because she wants to reclaim her memories, her very thin young memories of the prime of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not discussed in the film. I have a headcanon that's like is my I kind of wonder if maybe the king and Kita are the only ones that live as long as they do. Maybe the rest of Atlantis has gone through multiple generations.
Mm.
I don't know if that actually really makes any sense. I just that would for some reason that was a reason why everyone had forgotten how to read. And my thought was the king knows how to read, but he won't do it. Kita was maybe never taught to read the language because they were moving on from it when she was pretty young when they went under. And maybe everybody else just generationally hasn't been taught how to read. Or weirdly, everyone just lives to be 1,000. I don't really know. Several thousand.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something maybe you could flesh out a little bit. But Kita wants Milo because he can access the information she needs,
Right.
and she genuinely believes she needs it as the crown princess to help her people. Like her argument with her dad about like this is how we bring back our society. This is how we keep our people from dying. And he's like, it's not worth it. It's dangerous because I might in his head, I might lose you to that knowledge, to that power. And so she pursues the knowledge personally because she wants to figure out what happened to her mom and also like out of a public responsibility to her people. And the
Mm.
reason she thinks Milo can help is because she's pretty sure that knowledge is locked up in the language that she's discovered in the ruined part
Okay.
of Atlantis.
I misinterpreted things a little bit. Because like the way Milo talked about the energy keeping the city itself like alive, and the fact that we find out it's itself is like conscious. I thought there was like the energy was dying for some reason that was never said because that's not what's happening, and I misunderstood. And she thought he was going to be able to help with that, and I did not. That I didn't
She
get.
pulled out the energy. Like she understands it when she sees it, but I think it's pretty clear that she recognizes it from when her mom was taken by
Right.
it. But she doesn't know what it is when she encounters it in the underground chamber. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
something that her dad has locked away, which is another reason why I wondered if maybe generationally people have moved on in Atlantis with the exception of the king and Kita, because are they just all not gonna ever talk about the fact that their queen was taken up into the sky
Yeah.
and
I don't know. I
underground?
mean, I guess after 100 years, you don't really talk about that as much.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's kind of odd. So it's it's because it's because Kita is hungry for knowledge and cultural knowledge, and it's because Milo is a student of that culture that he's able to help her. And I think that's kind of cool. It's a little maybe white savior complexy because he has to come in and save the society, but like she is the one driving the action.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel bad about it. I mean, like she's just she reached a roadblock. She was like, I think one of the best scenes to take a look at for this is the scene where they're trying to figure out how to start the like floating fish car thing, and he's reading through the instructions, and she's like, I did that, I tried that. Oh, I didn't do them together, and then try it together, and it automatically works, right? Like it's them coming together that allows for the future of Atlantis to be kind of like found and discovered, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It's a good movie. I like this movie.
I think the characters are awesome. I love Milo. I think he's just got a lot going on. I think the dynamic between Milo and Kita is awesome. Like even their very first moment, it is so full of like emotions and tensions happening. Like he just fell down a cliff, and then there's a giant glowing mask in his face, and then he realizes he's in pain, and then the mask lifts up, and then the pretty woman under the mask is now touching his cut and like trying to heal it, and then it's healed, and that's super weird, and then she runs away. Like there's just a lot going on in that moment. And their entire relationship is like that. They're constantly pulling each other around, they're helping each other, they're very dynamic, and I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, the villains are clever and lucky. They basically should win. The only reason they don't is because people drive flying fish vehicles through their hot air balloon. Like it's
right on.
So much I mean, the final fight of this is in a like dormant volcano.
With weird little catapult airplanes that they were just carrying around with them the whole time for some reason.
Yeah, and like flying sci-fi historic fish things that shoot lightning.
Yep.
Because
it's pretty damn
good.
Why
not?
Yeah, why not?
And then like I love that in the fights all the characters are true to who they are. Like Helga and the commander are like combatives. They can fight. And then like the soldiers they have with them can also fight. But then we have Aubrey, who's just sawing away with the doctor's saw on the chains. You have Milo, he's constantly throwing himself in front of people, especially when he faces down the commander. You're like, this is not going to work out for him. And the only reason it does is because he happens to grab a piece of glass that will transform the commander into like a freaky
crystal monster.
Thing. Yeah, that freezes him, and then he shatters into pieces.
Wild.
There's so much in this film. I mean, we haven't even really talked about 50% of the things that happen.
I know. It's a lot.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
We'll have to watch the sequel someday.
Oh my gosh, please don't.
Yep, we'll have to. Not next week, but at some point.
I can't do it again. Yep. I can't.
I have no idea what it's about, so we'll have to see. I'm gonna have to break into it with fresh eyes. I will say at this point.
One of my notes.
Oh, go ahead.
One of my notes is after they come back from swimming underwater to read the underwater mural. Milo's about to fight those guys, dripping wet in his underwear.
Yep.
Pointing a gun at his face.
Yep. That's a real one right there. He knew what was important.
It's fine. He's dumb.
Yeah. Tis a whale, though. I would say tis a whale.
Oh, it's the whale.
Tis a big ol' robotic glowy whale. Yes. But that's it. And then next week we actually deviate from Disney and do a fantastic, beloved adventure romp that is not the one you all are expecting. So get over it right now. I don't care.
I don't know what they're supposed
to
be.
They're definitely expecting El Dorado.
Yeah,
but we're
not that one.
No, we're not doing El Dorado because I don't like it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Later, one day. But next week is Sinbad because that's more fun.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to tell them.
Nah, they know. That way I don't have to wonder. I mean, there's not many other things it could be if it's not El
also,
Dorado.
like, we're not planning on releasing these in order or anything. It could be months.
Oh, yeah, good point. Not next week. Next time one of us is dead, it'll be Sinbad.
Yeah, the next time one of us is bedridden or grave-ridden, you will hear about Sinbad.
Now, see, if it is next week, that very likely does mean one of us is dead. Because if we didn't watch our movies for 2 weeks in a row, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And it's probably me, as we've discussed, because
You're the problem.
I'm not uploading these things. So.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I'm dead. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, hearing this is my last will and testament.
Oh, you're gonna put it here? Okay, maybe don't do that. Otherwise, but okay.
Here, it's just us.
Yeah, good point. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.